Welcome to an episode of r/slash Entitled Parents, where we share stories of moms or dads thinking that because they have kids, they are entitled to everything. Kick back and enjoy what we're about to share with you, and at the end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, on to the stories. And this story is posted by u/enter_your name. Two EKs get mad that I catch more fish than them, throw my rod in the water, and get defended by EM. A couple of years ago, I was fishing at a small local pond. My favorite spot was taken, but I decided to go over and ask if we could share the spot. It is a small spillway below a pond, and there wasn't a ton of room, but they were okay with me there, so it was fine. Up stepped the characters, EK1, EK2, EM, and CD, Chill Dad. Only the kids were fishing while the parents sat on a bench. I noticed right away that the kids weren't going to catch anything with the setup they had. I won't go into detail about it, but in a nutshell, they had a huge weight about 2 inches from their hook. I thought about giving them advice, but I just decided to start fishing. I started landing fish after fish after fish. Most were little, but I must have caught 20 in 10 minutes. It was every cast. CD starts teasing the boys, and let's just say they handle it like 10-year-olds, which they appear to be. Well, EK1 and 2 didn't like this one bit and started trying to sabotage my fish catching attempts by hooking my line and throwing rocks near my lure. I asked EM, "Can you ask them to stop?" But she just says, "They're just jealous, leave them alone." Right at that moment, I get a bite and land a chunky sunfish. I felt a swell of joy as I watched the pure anger in both EK's faces, but that quickly shifted to horror as they moved towards my other rod that was sitting about 10 feet away. Then they proceeded to throw it at me, but I was able to dodge it and it landed in the water behind me. At this point, I think they might dump out my tackle box too, so I run up and pick up all my gear and tell the kids to get away. Not so politely this time. EM goes ballistic, demanding to know how I thought I could talk to her kids like that. But CD came to the rescue. With the reddest face I have ever seen, he tells his wife to calm down and tells the kids to get in the car. Hilariously, he makes the EKs apologize and give me the rest of their fishing worms. I proceed to spend 10 minutes trying to get my rod back and feeling very bad for that guy. And this story is posted by u/unicorn_that's_emo. EM tries making me give my spot up for her daughter. So this happened last year, but I didn't have enough comment karma, so here we go. EGU is me, EM is Karen, EK is the kid, EGUD is my dad. I had just graduated high school and I was waiting for responses from the colleges I applied to. Well, the day came, I got my acceptance letter to a good college in my state. Well, my neighbors had a child who graduated with me and applied to the same college. The only difference is that she didn't get accepted. So she jumped our fence, it isn't high since it was for the dog, and knocked on the door. So I opened it. The conversation goes as follows. EK, hey, did you get into college? EGU, yeah, I did. Did you? EK, no, because you took my spot. EGU, well, if you had actually tried in high school instead of slacking and turning to drugs, maybe you have gotten in. EK, I got all A's in middle school and high school, thank you, and vaping isn't a drug. Now, the funny part is that in middle school, she had advocated against vaping, then ended up doing it a year later. As for the grades part, she started slipping in high school, resulting in her dropping from all her advanced classes. So I just shook my head and watched her leave. I wasn't affected. She ruined her life on her own. Her mom and her came back over, and her mom was pissed. With a wrath of fury, she knocked on my door. I opened it, having been woken by the knocking, and was pushed down to the ground. EM, if you know what's good for you, you give up your spot. EGU, my spot for the college I have worked towards since I was young? No way. Get out of here, Karen. EM, my name is not Karen, and I demand you give your spot to EK. EGU, listen, EM, it's your daughter's fault for slacking. I am not giving up my spot for her. My dad had heard screaming after a thud, so he had come up to see what was going on when he saw EM screaming at me. EGUD. What's going on, EM? EM. EGU stole EK's spot in college. EGUD. Oh, you got in. Well, I don't know what to tell you. She got in fair and square. EM. No, she did not. She took my baby's spot. EGUD. Listen, if you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police. EM and EK did leave, but not without threatening us first. As far as I know, the kid still lives there without a job and is not in college. As for her mom, she got the cops called on her for trying to harass my sister. I, however, am enjoying quarantine with my roommate, who actually is the other person from my grade to make it into the college. As for my family, they're doing better now. My mom is a worker, however, so it's taking a toll on her still. But other than that, we all good. And this story is posted by u/xximmor74lxx. Bought a new Nintendo Switch to reward myself. Entitled mother wanted me to give it to her since she doesn't buy stuff for EK. This happened about a month ago, and I finally decided to write about it on Reddit. I work in a Starbucks coffee shop located in a mall where Karens are known to swarm. I've heard a few stories about them arguing about their coffee not being done properly, but I didn't think that I would experience an encounter with one myself. Unfortunately, I did. After getting paid minimum wage brewing coffee for 3 months, I finally saved enough money to buy myself a Nintendo Switch, which the gaming store in the mall sold for about $500. My first mistake was buying it on a Saturday, which was the day entitled parents usually bring their kids to the mall. At that time, I didn't really think much about it, as the chances of actually having an episode was low. So on that day, after I was done with my shift, I went to the store and paid for a Switch, along with a few games like Smash Bros. And BOTW. While the store employee was scanning my card, I glanced at my surroundings in order to avoid having awkward eye contact with the employee, and outside I saw EM, 40-ish, and EK, 10-ish. They looked pretty normal, so I didn't think too much about them. When I took the paper bag and carried it out of the store, EK somehow noticed that I was carrying a Nintendo Switch, maybe he already knew while I was in the store, and began to beg EM for one. I knew that it was a normal reaction for a child, so I ignored him and continued walking to the exit of the mall. Suddenly, EM shrieked loud as F and scared the spit out of me. I recognize you. You're the guy at Starbucks. Since I obviously didn't know who EM is, I just replied with yeah, I work there. Listen, my son really wants that Nintendo Switch. It's his birthday tomorrow, and since you're not going to play with it anyway, you should just give it to me. From EK's reaction, I could obviously tell that she was lying, and so I said, well, it's only $500. You could buy one yourself. Obviously, replying was a mistake. I should have just walked away. Now EM was mad. She shouted, you wouldn't have time to play it anyways. You have a job. My son doesn't have any toys at home to play with, so you better give him the Switch. I was just shocked at how she demanded me to just give away a $500 console. It was her fault that she didn't buy EK toys, so she shouldn't go around asking for free spit. I had a feeling that this wasn't the first time that EM had done this. EK was practically begging EM to stop with this spit. Luckily, before the situation escalated, the store employee that helped me with the purchase earlier saw the whole thing and offered EK a secondhand PSP, probably to not only calm EM down, but also maybe because he felt sorry that EK had to deal with this spit every day and gave him some form of entertainment. I thanked the store employee for helping me with the situation and even gave him a $10 tip as a way of showing my appreciation. Even though EK was happy as F about his new PSP, EM was giving me a stone cold glance as I walked away from her. Until now, I'm still afraid that I'll have another episode with her because she knows that I work at Starbucks, but I can only hope for the best. Edit. A lot of people have been saying this, and I've checked. $500 included the games as well. It was the total cost of all the things I bought. I was just stupid and forgot that I bought the games too. Edit 2. I know the kid isn't entitled. I even said he reacted like a normal kid, but I didn't know what to call him, so I just went with EK. And this story is posted by u/BritLitChick. Neighbors using my driveway when I'm away and mad when I come back. My family has a home that we regularly go to for lawn upkeep and checking the mail and occasional overnight stays, but nobody lives in actively. My next door neighbor has decided this means her and her children have free use of my driveway. Her kids will play and draw in chalk on my driveway, which wouldn't inherently bother me if my neighbor had asked one of the many times they've seen me or my family over there. The recent incident that has really wanted to make me ask them to stop using my driveway is because I went over to the house to spray weed killer on the driveway and saw a bike laying there. The neighbors were outside, and instead of getting up and moving the bike so I could pull into my driveway, they just stared at me and watched me have to park on the street. I ended up having to move the bike myself when I went to spray. The mom then started yelling loud enough for me to hear while I was spraying that her kids had to go back inside because I was spraying the driveway. I was annoyed, but just let it go because I wanted to spray and leave. When I returned a few days later to check on the weeds, I noticed the strip of them that went down the middle of our driveways was mysteriously still green and the rest were dead. I believe that my neighbors poured water on the middle part to wash it away. This also isn't the first time items have been left in my driveway and the neighbor not apologizing. She usually goes inside and tells her daughter, who's like 5, to apologize to me. I'm tired of being made to feel like I'm a bad person for coming to my own property. These were 4 great stories, so we definitely thank you for listening, and do us a huge favor, comment, like, share, and definitely subscribe for sure so you'll be able to get more of the reminders for new videos that come out in the future. Have yourselves an incredible day. This has been TNA Top Notch Audio.